One of the main problems with Petroman is that no one believes our products can really cut down petrol stock losses by the amount we claim. So we decided to run a competition through Forecourt Trader magazine and install our system free of charge on the winner's forecourt, with the figures being compiled by an independent third party and open to scrutiny by the magazine. The winner was Andy Smith of Rheged Services in the Lake District.
Hi, my name is Andy Smith. I'm the Group Forecourt Manager for Westmoreland Limited. I look after the forecourts at the motorway service station and the Rheged Visitor Centre in Penrith. The company was first started in the early 70s. Mr Dunning, who owned the land around the T-Bay area, was approached to sell some of his land for the building of the M6 motorway. That was done on proviso that a motorway service station was opened, and T-Bay northbound services was opened in 1973. From that point onwards, they have developed into a major service station on both sides of the motorway, a hotel, and also this new visitor centre at Rheged in Penrith, which opened in the year 2000. Apart from having a service station, we have restaurants, shop bar and IMAX cinema, which now shows 3D films. At the service station here at Rheged, we have approximately 2.75 million litres a year of spirits and over 3 million litres of diesel. One of our main concerns is when we have deliveries of fuel, especially spirits, the vapour tends to go straight back in the tanker and back to the petrol companies, so we're having a loss straight away. This new product obviously seems to get rid of that, so we get our vapour back into our tanks and therefore we do not lose any money. Stock loss at the moment on petrol, we're probably running around about 0.2%. I would love to see the petrol come down to less than 0.1. I would love to see a negative stock loss, yes.
The first thing we did was send in the site survey team to check the site over and explain what was going to happen. As this was a special installation, this included our Managing Director, Rodney Carter, seen here talking to Andy. There are 3 elements to the system that was to be installed at Rheged. The first is the vapour saver panel that lives in a cabinet above ground. This uses a set of valves to prevent as much vapour as possible going back into the tanker through its vapour recovery hose. While the delivery is taking place, more vapour is being created from the disturbed fuel and the space it can occupy is reducing. So to prevent the vapour pressure building up too high, the valves direct it to other tanks not receiving a delivery, and only send it back to the tanker as a last resort. The second element is the accumulus valve, which uses the vacuum created by petrol being delivered through the fill pipe to suck in vapour and reintegrate it into the fuel system. Finally, there is the soft fill, which lies along the bottom of the tank to reduce the turbulence that creates the vapour in the first place. The installation itself began with initial works on a very cold Monday afternoon, which turned into a very frosty Tuesday morning with a well wrapped up Petroman senior engineer, Phil Niles. Tell me what you did before I got here.
We finished the risers off, and the manifold, because we dug out all yesterday. We put the coalescer on, mounted the box and wedged it so it was level, and then made the support bracketing for the vent risers and just levelling it all up now, ready for concrete the post then.
What time did you get here yesterday?
We got here yesterday about 1 o'clock-ish.
And you had to dig all the holes?
We dug out till late last night. It was dark and we had to have the light on up there because we knew it was going to be cold this morning. The ground was like concrete this morning.
Yeah.
So if we hadn't have done that last night, we'd have had no chance today. It was bad enough digging the posts out.
So what's the next thing?
Well, the next step now is just drill the support bracket there for the panel, put the bottom one on, and then concrete the post down when it's all level.
Yeah.
And then put the panel inside the box so we can put the vent risers up because it's going to get dark. and reconnect the VR hookup point for the tanker, because they've got a delivery tomorrow. No, I've cleaned the jewels out. What we do now is we can connect the panel to the Vapour Recovery hookup point for the tanker driver.
This down here is the hookup point.
Yeah, that's where he hooks up.
That goes back into, that's where the vapour goes back into his tank.
Tanker, supposedly.
Allegedly, yeah. And all these down here, they go into individual tanks.
Yeah, they're all the vents off each tank. It's
the 3 on the left are petrol, the 2 on the right are diesel.
Diesel, yeah.
I've got you.
These are married together because they are a fuel, petroleum. One's super unleaded, and the other 2 are unleaded.
That goes through the valves in the valve panel.
Yeah, goes into the panel in the system, and everything's connected to that.
All being well, nothing should come down that pipe. And
unless it's just over-pressurised a bit.
Unless it's just over-pressurised.
And it'll take a bit.
As well as getting the engineering right, Petroman takes pride in the appearance of its equipment and finishes off the installation to the highest spec possible.
Just looks the business when it's all done.
The following morning, things got no warmer. The first job of the day was to install the accumulus valves in the fill pipes.
Well, the fuel comes down the drop tube through here, hits these lugs on the bottom of the venturi, pushes the venturi down, which opens the valve. The vapour will be sucked in through there with a vacuum and reintroduced with the fuel.
Yeah, what we'll do is put that at the top half, and the bottom half will go in the bottom half of this, and we knock that much off, so it's got 2 inches ready for the soft off.
Put this in, you've got to take that much distance out.
Oh, I see.
Oh, better plate that, isn't it?
Yeah. Just drill them. Just follow. It is the bottom of the tank, starts running along the bottom of the tank. The tube's still going down straight, but the pipe will be going along the tank. And it clicks in. So this is the final time.
Yes.
That's it. That's a better one. Now just putting it in.
Definitely.
Finally, whole system is pressure tested to ensure it will perform properly. Once the installation was completed and commissioned, it was the turn of Vianet Fuel Solutions to install its wet stock monitoring equipment, which would check the results over a number of months, as Vianet's Barry Onions explains.
Good afternoon. Hi, we're here today just to install our brand new wet stock monitoring solution from Vianet Fuel Solutions at Westmoreland Services, Rheged. The service will provide the customer with feedback on their wet stock on site, which gives a whole range of operational reports. That can be looking at potential losses associated with temperature, also vape recovery, which is something we're conducting a trial with the Petroman system for the vapor saver device, which will allow us to determine how much is being captured by that device and convert it back into kind of hard pounds for the customer. Yeah. It will also allow us to look at meter drift on pumps, potential theft. We can monitor the site 24 hours a day. That will then, once we've installed some cabling, as you can kind of see what it's doing there now, that will connect to the tank gauge and to the office PC. Once we're connected to the office PC, we will run our software application on there, which will allow us to capture the data, the sales transaction data, talk to the tank gauge and basically grab dips off the tank gauge on a regular basis. We then reconcile between what's being sold out of the pumps on the forecourts and what comes out the tanks on the ground. We obviously measure the temperature there as well. And that feeds back to our FTP server, which is a file protocol transfer server, which is in our secure data center in Stockton-upon-Tees. That data will then be analysed by our software applications and our analysts there on a 15-minute basis. The data will then be available 15 minutes after that for the customer live on the website. They have up-to-date tank dip readings from the last 15 minutes here. So if they want to log onto the website remotely, they can actually check the dip levels. Kind of associated with that, as well as the kind of traditional wet stock monitoring, we're also going to have the ability to show the customer sales transactional information. So stuff like flow rate reporting, so or the pump's starting to go slow, or you're starting to over dispense pumps, which can cause considerable losses for the customers on site these days due to the cost of fuel. We're also going to have the ability for the customer to look at sort of day-on-day, week-on-week sales trading. So it almost kind of acts as a head office solution. The customer, if they have multiple sites, they can also get an overall site network view of all that information. And yes, lots of other additional benefits.
So your system is going to rule out anything about the pumps being a problem. Correct. And you'll be able to verify that the figures are absolutely accurate.
That's correct, yeah. So when we look at the overall trend on the loss gain on every particular tank, because we've taken the fact of meter drift out of the equation, there'll be a full measure check on site just so we know all pumps where the readings are, because that's very, very important. And then that basically takes that out of the equation, so the only other thing you can have in there would be vapor loss and temperature loss. Again, because we measure the temperature, we can take the temperature loss out of the equation, so that will leave the vapor.
Now all we have to do is wait a few months for the results, which will be published in Forecourt Trader and online as soon as they are ready.